The phone rang at exactly 12:03 in the morning. I almost ignored it because only bad news comes after midnight. But when I saw my eldest son's name on the screen, my heart stopped. He never called unless it was serious. His first words were not hello. They were, "Dad, listen carefully. Shut everything down. Turn off every light in the house. Go to the basement right now. Do not tell your son-in-law. Do not ask questions. Just trust me." I wanted to know what was happening, but the fear in his voice told me everything. I did exactly what he said. 5 minutes later, I looked through the small basement window. What I saw outside made my blood run cold. If I had stayed upstairs for one more minute, I might not be alive to tell this story. I am 71 years old, and after my wife passed away, I thought life had finally become peaceful. My youngest daughter convinced me to move into her large family home so I would never be alone again. My eldest son Daniel lived in another state and worked for a federal law enforcement agency. Because of his job, he rarely talked about work and never discussed dangerous situations with the family. Everything seemed normal for almost a year. My daughter Sarah treated me with kindness. My grandchildren filled the house with laughter. Only one person always made me uncomfortable: my son-in-law Michael. Michael smiled often, but his smile never reached his eyes. He constantly asked questions about my savings, my property, and my insurance policies. I thought he was simply trying to help manage family finances. I ignored the uneasy feeling inside me. A week before the phone call, strange things started happening. Cars I had never seen before parked near the house late at night. Unknown people knocked on the door asking for someone who did not live there. Michael always rushed outside before anyone else could answer. When I asked him what they wanted, he laughed and changed the subject. Then one afternoon, Daniel called asking unusual questions. "Dad, has Michael ever asked you to sign documents?" "Yes." "Did you sign anything?" "Only one paper," he said, "was related to taxes." Daniel became silent. "Dad, promise me you will never sign another document without calling me first." I laughed and asked why. He only replied, "Because I asked you to." 3 days later came the midnight phone call. His voice was unlike anything I had ever heard. "Dad, shut everything down. Turn off every light. Take your emergency flashlight. Go to the basement. Lock the basement door. Do not tell Michael. Stay quiet until I call again." I wanted answers, but he interrupted me. "Dad, please trust me." The call ended. My hands shook as I followed every instruction. The house became completely dark. From the basement window, I could see only a small section of the backyard. At first, nothing happened. Then headlights slowly appeared. A black vehicle stopped behind the fence. Another vehicle parked across the street without its lights on. 3 shadowy figures quietly moved toward the back door. One of them looked directly at the house as if checking whether anyone was awake. Then something unbelievable happened. The back door quietly opened from inside. Someone had unlocked it. It was Michael. He stepped outside and whispered to the strangers. I could not hear every word, but I clearly heard one sentence: "He is upstairs sleeping." My entire body froze. The strangers entered the house while Michael remained outside pretending to smoke. If I had stayed in my bedroom, they would have found me there. I realized Daniel had somehow known this was coming. Minutes felt like hours. Footsteps echoed through the house. Drawers opened. Furniture moved. Someone shouted, "Where is he?" Another voice answered, "Search every room." I stayed completely silent. Finally, my phone vibrated. It was Daniel. "Stay where you are." 2 minutes later, flashing blue and red lights surrounded the neighborhood. Voices shouted outside. "Federal agents." Nobody moved. Doors slammed. People screamed. The strangers tried to run, but officers caught them within seconds. When Daniel finally opened the basement door, I had never been so relieved to see my son. I hugged him without saying a word. After everything calmed down, he explained the truth. Michael had secretly become involved with a criminal financial fraud network. They believed I owned valuable documents connected to an old business investment. They planned to force me to reveal where I kept them. Daniel's team intercepted communications only hours before they intended to enter the house. Because someone inside the organization knew Daniel worked on the investigation, he could not warn the local police until enough evidence had been collected. That night, they protected not only me but many other innocent families connected to the same criminal group. I asked Daniel the question that had haunted me all night: "How did you know they would come tonight?" He smiled sadly. "Dad, because they thought tonight was their last chance before we arrested everyone." Michael was arrested along with the others. My daughter was devastated because she never knew what her husband had been hiding. Months later, she rebuilt her life with her children. As for me, I moved closer to Daniel. One evening while drinking coffee, I asked him if he regretted choosing such a dangerous career. He looked at me and smiled. "Dad, if protecting one family means saving my own, then every difficult day is worth it." At that moment, I realized courage is not loud. Sometimes courage is a quiet phone call in the middle of the night asking someone you love to trust you without explanation. I never ignored another late-night call again. Strong ending. Family is built on trust, not secrets. That terrifying midnight call saved my life because I chose to believe my son without asking questions. Sometimes the people who truly love us cannot explain everything in the moment. They simply ask us to trust them. That trust became the difference between life and death. I will never forget the night my eldest son called and proved that real heroes protect their families even when nobody sees it.